Let's check out Ups and Downs, Slayer's theme from Guilty Gear Strive.
Sun, that light is beautiful. I might mesmerize by it, but soon I can't open my eyes. But eventually I get used to it. Surrounded,
wow,
by precious things. The heart turns into stone. Hurry, stop. Bedtime story. Happy ending game. Just a snapshot in time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride without sound downs. My friend enjoyed carrots for the plate, holding a platinum knife with sapphire glow. But his eyes did not shine. What he misses that he can hardly overthrow. Surrounded by precious things. My heart goes into stone. Hardly to stop.
Nice upper harmony.
Ending is just a snapshot in time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride without sound downs.
Is that's freaking, that the piano is going so hard. It's amazing.
Hardly suffer. Bedtime story. Sometimes you have to play a supporting role. But what matters is that your eyes shine in the moment. Hardly suffer. Bedtime story. Happy ending, you just a snapshot in time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride with ups and downs.
Man, Guilty Gear always puts me in such a good mood. I'm just so grateful. There's a Patreon supporter that's been constantly asking for this stuff, and it's just so much fun. Therefore, I end up showing it to other people, and I've actually shown this particular track to a composer, Gregory Wanamaker, and I have him back on a second episode that you'll eventually see, and I showed him El Felt's theme. I had showed him ABBA's theme, and I've been really enjoying this modern style of Guilty Gear music and seeing the development from the real standard prog rock metal, very genre defined, to this absolute delight. There's a couple things that I want to talk about, and I'm sort of reducing how much I analyze during things because I think that it's really fun to just listen to the piece. If you're still with me though, there's a couple awesome things that I really liked about this particular piece. First of all, when we start, I love that it's isolated in a stereo fashion, so I'm only hearing it in the left ear. Hopefully you have some really nice headphones to listen to this to, but I love that it isolates in this ear where you get the snap and the tss in this ear. Yeah. What I find really fascinating and fun is that this piece is actually really jovial. It's really bounding with excitement. There's actually like a really nice message in here of living life to the fullest and understanding that you should enjoy the ride because there are ups and downs. If we zoom in on Slayer as a character, first of all, look at that chest. He is built. His hair is perfect. I would love that hairline. I'm envious, but I do have a better beard. But the thing that's amazing about this, there is still a sense of virility in Slayer. There's still a sense that Slayer is a badass, right? And there's a sense that Slayer is tough and powerful. It's like a guy you'd want to have a smoke with at a party or like have a drink with, because Slayer's the type of guy that will tell you some crazy story, like when he jumped out of a helicopter. I really love how powerful he sounds. Especially with that rhythm. That rhythm is really sharp. But then what's really fun to me is that halfway into the intro, we get this piano that's so melodious and so fluid and so effervescent. Right around right here. So that boom bum bum bum. So there's a little bit of jazz in there. I don't know if this is true, but I'm assuming that Slayer is a vampire. I saw some bats when there's bats in this image. And so what I think that represents is you know how in Twilight or in other vampire show, I'm sorry, I referenced Twilight, by the way. I'm sorry. But like, you know how vampires in modern media tend to be these suave, sexual, spicy characters? In my ear, I actually hear that the piano symbolizes that in this piece. Like the piano is the suaveness of Slayer. The piano is the elegance. The piano is the three-piece suit with the double-breasted vest and the pipe and the elegance in the way that he bows and the way that he invites you in, like, welcome, come to my lair. How are you? You know, there's a certain je ne sais quoi with Slayer that I think is really, really highlighted by that music. But the lyrics are also really interesting because the darkness is pierced by the morning sun. The light is beautiful. I'm mesmerized by it, but soon I can't open my eyes. But eventually I get used to it. So that's like obviously a vampire hunts in the night. He, doesn't want to look, but wow, this is really beautiful out there. Surrounded it by precious things, the heart turns into stone, because obviously vampires will get turned into stone if they look out. Hardly the stuff of bedtime stories. Happy ending is just a snapshot in time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride with ups and downs. I find this little sentence so funny because it doesn't really fit with the rest. So it's basically just like a life lesson about living life to the fullest. I also really like near 1 minute and 28 seconds. The bright effervescence really comes through with that trumpet, and there's a looseness here. There's like a Fat Tuesday New Orleans, like living the party, life of the party, like yeah, It's a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride with ups and downs. So first of all, what a nice resolution. With ups and downs. And then we have a button. So it doesn't go with ups and downs. It goes with ups and downs. And then we have a little bit of a slight lift right there. Bam. And then the piano comes in, and this is where we really get the flow. But I love that little pause, and I think it's really worth mentioning. This is such a minuscule thing, but in music, we have to sort of look at little details and how they enhance the overall experience for us as listeners. And having a little break, that's a button. That's like a period. That says, and we're done with this. And then we move into this fantastic jazz section. Just full improv on the piano, it feels like. So good. And then this section is so satisfying. Wakaboo, 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 wakaboo. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, the trumpet improvising. Common in jazz settings, of course. Bam, 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 bam. And then we get the hard metal in there again. Down, 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 down. And then also lyrically, we have to really dive into "My friend enjoys courage for the plate." It's so spoken parlato style, but with a lot of gumption attached to it. It's so fun to just you just release that like a conversation, but spoken with melody. I really enjoy this harmony with ups and downs. We don't get a lot of sung, but when we do, it's really satisfying. With ups and downs. So fun. And then we get the second part of this. This feels like a 90s sitcom opening. Family Matters. Wonderful rhythm in the piano and the upper register, kind of spanning the whole keyboard. Up the register. Sorry. Sometimes you have to play supporting role. But what matters is that your eyes shine in the moment. Happy stopper, bedtime story. Happy ending, you just pass something time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Right there. Life is a journey, not a destination. Let's look up some lore. So Slayer, the most important thing in life is dandyism, which was a thing. Oh yeah, a dandy's a man who places particular importance upon physical appearance and personal grooming, which is where we hear the like jazz stuff. A dandy could be a self-made man, both in persona and person, who emulates the aristocratic style of life, regardless of the middle-class origin, birth, or background, especially during the late 18th and early 19th centuries in Britain. Early manifestations of dandyism were le petit maître, the little master, and the musk-wearing muscadine ruffians of the middle-class Thermidorian reaction. Wow, this is like steeped in history. That's fantastic. Or the pursuit of beauty and refinement to an extent that one turns themselves into a work of art, which is where you hear the elegance in this music, which may be accomplished through personal grooming, refined language, or leisurely hobbies. He even put it forth as in one of the founding tenets of the Assassin's Guild. Abiding by this code, he will treat even opponents he has never met before with the sort of gentlemanly politeness reserved for a respected foe. Having lived for a millennia, Slayer has lost his fear of death and is said to be the very definition of unflappable. His calm demeanor is impossible to shake, and he approaches every situation and encounter with a mannerly composure. Possessing a great sense of perspective, he views events in the human world as trivial, but likes people nonetheless, and is an avid observer of human nature for philosophical purposes. Finding their turbulent emotions to respond to such affairs both enviable and endearing, detached as he may seem, Slayer is not without passion. However, he loves duels, fighting for mere entertainment, often to the frustration of others, and becomes excited at the prospect of a worthy opponent. Slayer prefers duels in haiku poetry to meaningless bloodshed despite being a vampire, and while there is no greater cause behind his action, his own morality drove him to take a chivalrous stance toward the killing of human beings, such as having a guild to assist the weak, by judging those the law could not. I really hear a lot of that in the music. There's so much like strength and virility in there, like we mentioned, but then also the elegance is really that dandyism that comes full focus and full forward. I also like that he's a vampire, but he's not really a bad one. And maybe that's what it means when it says take a back seat, or life is full of ups and downs, because it's like, man, you guys just gotta chill. And it's probably that too. Y'all just need to chill. You're so busy caught up in your nonsense and your bullshit, but like, why don't you just relax for a second? Because like life is full of ups and downs. So he's like the advice giving vampire who will also suck your blood if you're not careful. But chances are he's just like, stop it right now. I love that. This theme was awesome. This was a really long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Man, I really enjoyed this track. The last 3 Guilty Gear tracks I've listened to have been absolutely phenomenal, and they have made my day, and this one is no different. If you like this sort of stuff, feel free to like, subscribe, support the channel if you want to, and as always, thanks a ton, and I'll see you later. Bye.